In previous lesson, we've added some validation using our schema here. This validation here. Is there approach better than this? Of course, there it is. And it will be in the route here. So each route will have his own validation. You can use this using a lot of if statement conditions, or there's a better approach using Express Validator library. So if you open npm and search for Express Validator, select this first library, Express Validator. See this wonderful library? It will save a lot of code that you will need to write to add validation. So first we need to install this library. So let's copy the installation command and go to our VS Code, and in a new terminal, let's install it. npm I Express Validator. Now the package is installed. Now let me show you how to use it. First, you need to import it. So here, require Express Validator, and we're gonna import from it the body, and this is referred to the body that you will send in your HTTP request, and the validation result, and this is referred to the result of the validation. It's the valid body or not valid body. Now here inside this post request, we're gonna add here a middleware. Middleware in Node.js is a function that executes during the request response cycle, and it has access to the request and response objects. You can think about middleware as a chain of functions that process a request before it reaches your final route handler. And you can add your middleware here in this place between this async function and the route name. You can add here the middlewares. And here we're gonna add our middleware, and it's gonna be an array. This array is gonna be an array of Express Validator middleware functions that validate the request body when we create a new bug. So here we're gonna use our body that we imported from this library. So here body, then add here the keys of your book schema. So if you open book model here, you're gonna find book name, count in stock, price, date created, and image. We're not gonna add validation to date created because it will refer to the date of now, but we're gonna add the validation for those 4 keys: image, price, count in stock, and book name. So first let's take the book name and add it here. And we don't make it not empty, so we're gonna use our not empty method. And this is referred to make our book name is not empty. So you have to add a book name. And we can add a message with it. So with message, let's add some message. For example, book name is required, like this. And here we want also to add min length and max length. So we can use another method called isLength. And we're gonna add inside it the min, and it's gonna be 2. And the max is gonna be, what was the min and max? The min is 5 and the max is 100. Like this. So, and we can also add a message here. So with message, book name must be between 5 and 100 characters. Like this. Let's try to make our code more beautiful than this. So here, we're gonna put this in a new line. Like this. Or it's better to format our code using the prettier formatter. So right click and press here format document, like this. Now we added validation to our book name. Let's add validation to the price. So here, after this comma, let's gonna add body of price, and this is gonna be not empty as well. With message, price is required, and is gonna be, you can use isInt or isFloat, but isFloat is better. Why? Because if you make it isInt, he will not accept decimal numbers. For example, 1.5 and so. So it's better to make it isFloat because prices are float. Okay, and we're gonna make the min 1 and max. We're gonna make it 1000, and we're gonna add message with it. Price must be between $1 and $1,000. And here's the price. Now we also have count in stock and the image. So let's add comma here and add body, and let's add count in stock. You have to make sure that this key must be the same key here. So you cannot add, for example, like this, or count stock like this. No, you have to put the same key in the book model schema, okay? Now the count in stock is gonna be not empty as well, with message stock count is required, and it's gonna be a number. So we're gonna make it is int. In this case, we're gonna use is int because you cannot add 1.5 POC. It doesn't make sense, okay? So we're gonna make it integer. So it's gonna be integer with min 1 item and max 255 items. And we're gonna add here error message, and it's gonna be stock count must be an integer, or let's make it must be between 1 and 255, like this. Finally, let's add the image. So here, body of image, and it's gonna be not empty as well, with message image URL is required, and it's gonna be is URL with message image must be a valid URL, like this. Now in this case, you don't need to add this regex here. So this library allows you to use this method is URL to validate if your body is a valid URL or not. Now we are done with our schema here. It's time to add the validation result. So let's go up here and copy this validation result here. And here inside our route here, before our new POC, we're gonna add the validation result of the request, and we're gonna store the result inside errors. And this errors is an array of errors. So we're gonna add here a single if statement. So if we don't get errors dot is empty, we will return response dot status 400, status code 400, and we're gonna return the list of errors. So errors, it will be errors dot array. Now let's save our code and try to test our validation. So here in Postman, if you press here to send to create a new POC, you can create new POC correctly. Now let's try to make any errors. For example, this price, let's make it 0 and try to send the request. Now we got here our message, the type is failed, and the message here, price must be between 1 and 1000. Like this message here, 1 and 1000. Let's try to make an error in count in stock. For example, the max is 255. So here, let's make the price 15 and count in stock. Let's make it 1000 and try to create a send request. Look, we got here also bad request. Stock count must be between 1 and 255. So let's return it. Now let's try to test our image URL. So let's remove, for example, URL and type anything, for example, HHH, and press post. Look, we got here a message, image must be a valid URL. And when you return it to a valid URL again and press send, now you can create a new POC with a valid URL.